Mr. Miles,
I'm here.
Ms. Mitchell has joined.
Excellent.
Hi.
Hello, Laverne.
Hey, Laverne.
So we are live, and if everyone's ready, I'll begin with the instrumentalities contemporaneous chairman's notes for June 28, 2022. Good evening, everyone, and thank you for attending this evening's board meeting. Tonight's board meetings are being conducted via webcam video and teleconferencing as approved through a limited time exception reinstituted by the Ohio General Assembly, which directly affects how local governments throughout the state operate in conducting public business. This temporary exemption will expire July 1, 2022. But prior to starting the meeting this evening, I have a message from the secretary announcing that we have a new director of information technology. I'd like to take a moment on behalf of the board to give a warm and enthusiastic welcome to Mark Haas. Welcome to the team, Mark. Prior to CMHA,
Thank you. Thank you.
yeah. Prior to joining CMHA, Mark was the Director of Information Technology and Facilities at the Children's Home of Cincinnati. Mark served as one of the primary facilitators during the recent merger of the Children's Home and St. Aloysius Orphanage, completed in February of 2022. These two amazing organizations, specializing in education and behavioral health services for vulnerable, at-risk youth and their families, serve many of the same families as CMHA. Mark has been in the IT industry for almost 25 years and has spent the majority of his career serving clients in the nonprofit sector, such as Goodwill Industries International. Mark's background includes experience in project management, infrastructure implementation and support, data center management, and vendor relations. Mark was born and raised in Cincinnati. He's currently married to his wife, Michelle, and they have 3 children. Hunter and Jasmine are currently enrolled in college, and their youngest, Isabel, just turned 13. So a hearty welcome to you.
Welcome.
All right. And continuing, this is the contemporaneous meeting for instrumentalities that do not have any new business or matters requiring deliberation. The meetings of the following instrumentalities: Laurel Homes 1, Lincoln View Incorporated, Reserve on South Martin, Southwest Ohio Housing Development Incorporated, Cary Crossing Development Corporation, West Union Square Development Corporation, Sutter View Development Corporation, Pinecrest Rad Development Corporation, Park Eden Evanston LLC, Park Eden Apartments Development Corporation, Mariana Terrace Development Corporation, Bennett Point Development Corporation, Logan Commons LLC, Horizon Hills LLC, Beechwood Rad Development Corporation, and Maple Tower Rad Development Corporation are hereby called to order. Roll call for attendance: Ms. Mitchell.
Present.
Mr. Weedman.
Present.
Ms. Pelly.
Present.
And the chair is present. We have a quorum. Commissioners, have you reviewed the May 31st, 2022 minutes for these instrumentalities? And
Motion to approve.
thank you.
Second.
Thank you. Roll call. Ms. Mitchell.
Aye.
Mr. Weedman.
Aye.
Ms. Pelly.
Aye.
And the chair votes aye. The motion passes. There is no new business for these instrumentalities, so may I
Motion
have
to adjourn.
Thank you. A second?
Second.
Thanks. Roll call. Ms. Mitchell.
Aye.
Mr. Weedman.
Aye.
Ms. Pelly. And the chair votes aye. The meeting is adjourned. Now, if you'll bear with me while I flip up the next agenda. And I'm revealing myself to be the IT dinosaur that I am to everyone.
You're not the only one.
Oh, thank you. That helps a lot. Okay, so moving on to the next instrumentality, Touchstone Property Services Incorporated. This is the regular meeting of Touchstone Property Services Incorporated for Tuesday, June 28, 2022. The meeting is called to order. Roll call for attendance, Ms. Mitchell,
Present.
Mr. Weedman,
Present.
Ms. Pelly.
Present.
The chair is present. We have a quorum. Item 3 is approval of the minutes. Is there a motion to approve the minutes?
Motion to approve.
Thank you. For May 31st. Is there a
Second.
second? Thank you.
Second.
And roll call to approve, Ms. Mitchell,
Aye.
Mr. Weedman,
Aye.
Ms. Pelly.
Aye.
And the chair votes aye. The motion passes without any corrections. Item 4 is discussion of recommendations. And we have resolution 201, approving the financial report for the month of May 2022 with collection losses. Is there a motion to accept? Thank you. Second. Thank you. Are there any questions from the board members? Hearing none, roll call to approve. Ms. Mitchell,
Aye.
Mr. Weedman,
Aye.
Ms. Pelly.
Aye.
The chairman votes aye. The resolution passes. Now, resolution 202 to approve the financial statements for Hamilton County Affordable Housing, Springdale Senior Limited Partnership, DBA Baldwin Grove, the Reserve on South Martin, Cary Crossing, West Union Square, Sutterview, Evanston, Pinecrest, Park Eden Apartments, City West Retail, and Touchdown Property Services for the 5 months ending May 31st, 2022 for calendar year 2022.
Motion.
Thank you. A second.
Second.
Thank you. Any questions? Hearing none, roll call on the resolution. Ms. Mitchell.
Aye.
Mr. Weedman.
Aye.
Ms. Pelly.
Aye.
The chair votes aye. The resolution passes. Resolution 203, authorizing the CEO of Touchstone Property Services to sign the first one-year contract extension option for contract TP 21-1005, plumbing maintenance and repair services with Triton Services Incorporated, Blau Mechanical Incorporated, Queen City Mechanicals Incorporated, and Roto-Rooter Services Company in a not to exceed amount of $150,000 annually per contractor or board approved budget, or a maximum 5-year contract funded by operating funds.
Motion.
Thank you. A second?
Second.
Thanks. Any questions? Hearing none, a roll call. Ms. Mitchell,
Aye.
Mr. Weedman,
Aye.
Ms. Kelly.
Aye.
And the chair votes aye. The resolution passes. Now, resolution 204, authorizing the CEO of Touchdown Property Services to negotiate and enter into contracts for solicitation TP 22-1013. Work order services with Diamond Professional Contractors, LLC, Trust Us Transportation, LLC, doing businesses Trust Us Maintenance and Janitorial, Colossal Janitorial, LLC, Somebody Gotta Do It, LLC, Finesse Services, LLC, A Fist of Contractors, LLC, G2 Residential Services, LLC, Wade Enterprises Real Estate and Property Management, LLC, Gwendolyn Hunter, DBA K&G's Construction, LLC, Terrence Shipman, DBA Upgrade Renovation Restoration Repair Company, the Stone Street Group, LLC, Howard Edwards Contractors, LLC, Koger Enterprise, LLC, excuse me, DCJ Janitorial, LLC, Chase Construction and Development Group, LLC, DBA Chase Construction and Inspection Group, LLC, Bruce Gray, DBA From the Ground Up Renovations, GLT Renovations, LLC, and Ultimate Professionals, LLC, in a not to exceed amount of $200,000 annually per contractor or the board approved budget for a maximum 3-year contract and funded by operating funds. Is there a motion?
Second.
Thank you. Any questions? Hearing none, roll call, Ms. Mitchell. Did Ms. Mitchell say
Muted.
She's on mute.
she's on mute?
Miss Mitchell, you're on mute.
Okay, can you hear us, Laverne? You may be on mute.
Aye.
Okay. Mr. Weedman,
Aye.
Ms. Pelly.
Aye.
And the chair votes aye, the resolution passes. During May 2022 of fiscal year 2022, TPS entered into 5 contracts with not to exceed maximum amounts below $100,000. Per resolution number 174, approved January 25th, 2022, the CEO has authorization to execute and sign contracts in an amount not to exceed $100,000. And if there's no other business to come before the board, may I have a motion to adjourn the Touchstone
Motion.
Property Services? Okay, great.
Second.
A second. Thank you. Any questions? Hearing none, roll call to adjourn. Ms. Mitchell,
Aye.
Mr. Weedman,
Aye.
Ms. Pelly.
Aye.
The chair votes aye, the resolution passes. The Touchstone Property Services Incorporated meeting is closed. Now, oops. Happy finger there, double tapping once, we'll do it. That's right. Okay, now for the regular board meeting of the Cincinnati Metropolitan Housing Authority for Tuesday, June 28th, 2022. The meeting is now called to order. Roll call for attendance, Ms. Mitchell,
Present.
Mr. Weedman,
Present.
Ms. Pelly,
Present.
and the chair is present. We have a quorum. Item 3 is approval of minutes from May 31st, 2022.
Motion.
Thank you. May I have a second? Second, okay. Are there any corrections to the minutes? Hearing none, roll call. Ms. Mitchell,
Aye.
Ms. Spear, I'm sorry, Mr. Weedman,
Aye.
Ms. Pelly.
Aye.
The chair votes aye, the motion passes. Item 4 is public comments. I believe we have one request to speak, and may I remind our guests that our board standard is that each speaker has 2 minutes from the time they begin for their comments. Is Ms. Vanessa Sparks present?
Mr. Miles, we do not have any guests in the waiting room at this time.
Okay,
Crystal, so the young lady that was out there, she hung up, Queen?
Queen is not with us anymore, and there might be an opportunity or an understanding that Queen may be a board member.
No, I actually have been sending her, she has been saying she could not get in. I sent her a couple emails and said, please try to join now. And I also called, but I did not connect. She indicates that she's not being let in. She was waiting, but could not get in.
okay. Well, shall we, Mr. Secretary, give this another couple minutes for?
Let's continue to move on. And then Crystal, if you could see if she tries to get in again, you can let her in. And then my suggestion is that when she, and if she is successful with getting in, then we can allow her to speak if that's okay with the board.
That's good.
One of the things we may want to do, if we could give her maybe a call-in number where she could call in and then Crystal could let her in that way.
Yeah, I think we should, I agree with what you're saying, and that it would be my preference to try one more time and make it very clear to her that she's welcome to join the meeting. And if she's struggling with technology or any such thing, that Crystal, you, as Greg, you could instruct staff to make sure that she's been given every opportunity to join. And so based on that, without any objections from other board members, I'll move on to section 5. Is that okay with everybody?
Yes. Not with me.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you. All right, item 5 is discussion of secretary recommendations. Item 5A is the financial report, resolution 5698, resolution approving the bad debt write-offs for May of 2022.
Motion.
Thank you. Second? Thank you. And are there any questions or discussion from the board members? Hearing none, roll call. Ms. Mitchell,
Aye.
Mr. Weedman,
Aye.
Ms. Pelly.
Aye.
And the chair votes aye, the resolution passes. Resolution 5699, approving the fiscal year 2022, May 2022 financial statements for the Cincinnati Metropolitan Housing Authority. Is there a motion to accept? Thank you. A second? Did I not hear the second?
Second.
Thank you. Any questions on the resolution? Hearing none, roll call. Ms. Mitchell,
Aye.
Mr. Weedman,
Aye.
Ms. Pelly.
Aye.
The chair votes aye, the resolution passes. Item 5B is,
Hey, Bill.
Mr.
believe-
Chair, I think she's in now. So
Okay.
if we could recognize the speaker, and then that way she could
will do.
speak. Just have to go through the previous about
Our
two
process. Yeah,
and then Gary, can you, when she starts speaking, can you please make sure you record and then let Mr. Miles know when the time frame is up?
I will do that. Yes.
yeah, thank you.
Great.
And if I could be reminded that we're coming back to item 5B. And I'm
So,
scrolling.
item 4.
Say again?
Item 4, public comments.
Yeah, I was just asking everyone to help.
You go back the other way. I got
What
you.
we're coming back to, but
Yep,
thank
yep.
you. Okay, is Ms. Vanessa Sparks with us?
Speaking.
Wonderful. We want to remind you that our board standard is that each speaker has 2 minutes from the time they begin for their comments. And if you would please identify yourself before presenting your comments. The meeting host will notify everyone when the 2 minutes for presentation has expired. So please, Ms. Sparks, it's your time.
All right. Thank you. My name is Vanessa Sparks. I currently have a 3-bedroom Section 8 voucher that because of the actions of my current landlord, I cannot find a place to live. My daughter and my granddaughter also live with me as well. Within the past year, the current landlord has chosen to file 3 separate evictions on us, despite the fact that the reason he fell behind is based on him losing his Section 8 contract due to his own negligence. His Section 8 contract was terminated due to him refusing to make repairs. This happened in the middle of the pandemic. We could not find a place to live. And now that he has filed not 1, not 2, but 3 evictions in my name, we are being turned down for every place we have applied to and have lost hundreds of dollars in application fees. The owner lives in South Beach, Florida, and has never been made to appear in court. He pays his hired help to lie for him under oath, and unfortunately, the court took his word over the written proof I presented to them. In April 2022, his hired help had me sign the RTA and pay the water bill down to a 0 balance and leave the RTA paperwork and proof that the bill was paid on the front porch to be picked up and turned in by Friday of that week, which would have been the 9th of April. He intentionally misled me. This owner waited until he exhausted all of the PPP funds paid to him and then filed another eviction instead of turning in the RTA, which he said he would. I have this entire conversation recorded on my computer. He intentionally is trying to make us homeless. I do believe that CMHA could be doing more to aid and
2 minutes
assist
is
me and my
up.
family. According to the records I have received, even though the Section 8 contract had been terminated, there was still an increase allowed in the midst of the pandemic, which left the court to believe that I agreed to an $1,180 per month contract rent. I never agreed to that. As a matter of fact, I appealed it and was told by CMHA that there was nothing I could do. My family and I need help. It's hard to breathe in here. The type of meningitis that I had in January 2022, which put me in a coma for almost 4 weeks, is directly linked to mice and rodents. I have documentation of this as well. We are being treated less than humane, to say the least. My family and I need emergency help to move. Please do not let my plea to you today fall on deaf ears. There has to be something that CMHA can do. Otherwise, as of the 21st of January, we may be sleeping in our car. Thank you for your time, and I look forward to hearing something back from you soon.
Okay, Ms. Sparks, thank you for sharing that with the board. You can be sure that we have heard your statement. And you can also be sure that Mr. Johnson and the staff will address your concerns. That's our role, and we're confident that that will happen. So we thank you for coming forward, and thank you for taking time to address the board tonight.
Thank you.
And we're now moving on to section
Item 5B.
5B. Thank you. Okay. Give me just a minute to get there. Here we are. Item 5B is request for approval to solicit bids for the following items. Resolution 5700, providing authorization to proceed with the request for proposals and solicitations for general goods and services from outside vendors. Solicitation 2022-2005 for housing choice voucher project-based assistance for existing, rehabilitated, or newly constructing housing units. Solicitation 2022-4007, co-developer for choice neighborhoods. Solicitation 2022-7010, janitorial services for campus. Solicitation 2022-1019, grant writer for DOJ or other funding institutions. Is there a motion to accept?
Motion.
Thank you. A second?
Second.
Great. Any questions or discussion? Hearing none, roll call, Ms. Mitchell.
Aye.
Thank you. Mr. Weedman.
Aye.
Ms. Pelly.
Aye.
The chair votes aye, the resolution passes. Item 5C is resolutions to award contract renewals. Resolution 5701, authorizing the CEO of the Cincinnati Metropolitan Housing Authority to sign the second one-year contract extension option for contract 2022-1016, off-duty police services with the City of Cincinnati Police Department in a not-to-exceed amount of $125,000 annually for a maximum 5-year contract or the board-approved budget, funded by operational funds, administrative fees, and management services.
Motion.
Thank you. A second?
Second.
Great. And any questions on this resolution? Hearing none, roll call. Ms. Mitchell.
Aye.
Mr. Weedman.
Aye.
Ms. Pelly.
Aye.
The chair votes aye. The resolution passes. Resolution 5702, authorizing the CEO of CMHA to sign the second one-year contract extension option for Memorandum of Understanding 2021-1018 for off-duty sheriff services with the Hamilton County Sheriff's Office in a not-to-exceed amount of $125,000 annually for a maximum 5-year contract or the board-approved budget, funded by operational funds and management services fees. Is there a motion to accept?
Motion.
Thank you. A second?
Second.
Great. Any questions or discussion from the board? Hearing none, roll call. Oh, I'm sorry. Did I interrupt?
Yeah, I
Please.
just had a quick question
Take your time.
for Director Johnson. I was just wondering, you know, the community and the nation are having a lot of conversations around public safety, and I was just curious as to are we having conversations that involve residents? And do they have an opportunity to sort of weigh in on what we're doing around public safety and what resources we need to keep our neighborhoods safe and thriving?
So the answer is yes. We had a meeting with Winton Terrace, Finlater Garden residents, and we invited them all to the main campus, provided transportation, and met with the Cincinnati Police Department to further the conversation because that's where a lot of incidents happen on our property. Unfortunately, we had a small turnout of residents that showed up, but we did have a fruitful conversation. Subsequently, I have reached out to the interim chief of police and the sheriff so we can talk about additional things that we could possibly partner with and do together to try to curb some of this. If you look at the solicitation for grant writer for DOJ, that actually is part of not security, but in a direct way, in an indirect way, what we're really looking for is try to apply for DOJ funds to pay for a psychologist to help to actually work an organization or persons to work for CMHA to work with residents that may have some issues that they're not willing to, go see a doctor and things like that. So we're trying to look and think of outside of the box of not just having police, because what we're actually finding that police usually come after something happens, and what we're trying to do is get people help before something gets or escalates or someone has a gun and things like that. So those are the things that we're doing to try to combat. I'm just going to say aggressiveness and aggressive behaviors at our sites to date.
Greg, does Cinnamon know about the extensive efforts to put our partners on the ground at the Rock Center?
Yeah. I know we've had conversations about it. I'm pretty sure Mary went over that as she went through our process as well, onboarding.
It's a lot to absorb as a new board member, I'm sure.
But we do provide the managers with community partners. Not only do we have them at the Rock Center, at Millville and Finlater and Winton, but there's an ongoing list that we provide to managers that can make referrals to organizations to help residents if they recognize that there's issues or problems for a variety of reasons. But centered on the violence part of it is we're finding and experiencing that it's more of some mental illness. And like I said, we really need some direct help because our staff is not equipped with how to deal with some of the mental illness that we're experiencing, especially over, I'm going to say, the last 5 years. And then obviously it's been escalated after the pandemic. So I don't think we can hire enough police. It's more about what other type of services can you get people involved in to help with some of their other issues or needs.
Thank you. That was what I was curious about. As the city has been looking at additional services to complement, what else besides policing, mental health, and that we have some partnerships with UMADOP and some others. So I was just curious as we were talking about budget for, public safety and security what kind of mix we had. So thank you.
Yeah, and just to kind of follow up on that, our budget for actual security, this budget has been reduced tremendously. And the bigger picture is trying to bring in other funds, like I said, the DOJ, but we're finding that just getting or buying more police is not the answer. It does some deterrent, but at the end of the day, we really need more professionals that know how to deal with mental illness. And so that's the target with the DOJ, trying to get them to fund that so we could hire that service strictly for CMHA and place that service in some of our buildings.
And to your credit, the resources that are on the ground in places like the rock centers helps us to not mission drift and take on competencies that aren't necessarily ours. But I believe this is a correct statement, to give access, door knocking access, even leaving things on the doorknob, messaging to our tenants that if they're struggling with this or that there's someone that they can talk to and begin that conversation and deal with it on the front end rather than the nearly impossible and most regrettable often back end. So
yeah,
it's a good question, sentiment. It's important. Okay, so any other questions on this resolution? Hearing none, roll call. Ms. Mitchell.
Aye.
Mr. Weedman.
Aye.
Ms. Pelly. Ms. Pelly, are you muted? Is that a aye?
She said aye, but we
Okay,
can't hear.
great. And the chair votes aye, the resolution passes. Now resolution 5703, authorizing the CEO of the Cincinnati Metropolitan Housing Authority to sign the second one-year contract extension for contract 2020-4002. Bond counsel with Ballard Spar, LLP, Coach Rose, PC, and Taft, Stettinius, and Hollister, LLP, in a not-to-exceed amount of $500,000 annually per contractor for the board-approved budget for a maximum 5-year contract funded by development funds.
Motion.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. Any questions on this? Hearing none, roll call. Ms. Mitchell.
Aye.
Mr. Weedman.
Aye.
Ms. Pelly. That's a very soft aye.
Yeah.
Okay, so, and the chair votes aye, the resolution passes. Item 5D is adopt a resolution to award the following construction contracts. And I'd like to ask that we consider resolutions 5704, 5705, 5706, 5707, and 5708 together. Are there any objections to doing so? Great. I'll read each resolution and we'll vote on these resolutions at the conclusion, having read them all. Resolution 5704, authorizing the CEO of CMHA to enter into a contract for solicitation 2022-3017-03 with ELA Holdings DBA Turnkey Technology for the installation of security cameras and an access control system at Millville North and South for the amount of $293,758.66. Excuse me, funded by capital funds and emergency grants. Resolution 5705, authorizing the CEO of CMHA to enter into a contract for solicitation 2022-3017-03 with ELA Holdings DBA Turnkey Technology for the installation of security cameras and an access control system at Beechwood for the amount of $232,004.33, funded by capital funds. Resolution 5706, authorizing the CEO of CMHA to enter into a contract for solicitation 2022-3017-03 with ELA Holdings DBA Turnkey Technology for the installation of security cameras and an access control system at Maple Tower for the amount of $286,182.39, funded by capital funds. Resolution 5707 authorizes the CEO of CMHA to enter into a contract for solicitation 2022-3017-03 with ELA Holdings, DBA Turnkey Technology for the installation of security cameras and an access control panel at Riverview for the amount of $227,000, $227,140.28, funded by capital funds. Resolution 5708, authorizing the CEO of Cincinnati Metropolitan Housing Authority to enter into a contract for solicitation 2022-3017-03 with ELA Holdings, DBA Turnkey Technology for the installation of security cameras and an access control system at San Marco for the amount of $117,784.91, funded by capital funds. Is there a motion to accept resolutions 5704, 5705, 5706, 5707, and 5708?
Motion.
Second?
Second.
Thank you. Are there any questions or discussion from?
Maybe Joe, can you just bring us up to speed? We just spent $1.2 million on security cameras. I kind of like to get an idea where that's going, and are these interior, exterior, both?
These are both. So these will be cameras on every floor. So it'll give total view of everything that's happening in the building on every single floor and every single stairwell and the entire exterior of the buildings. It'll provide additional analytics that our other camera systems do not have, meaning facial recognition, license plate readers, and vehicle recognition. So one of the nice aspects of the facial recognition is property management can easily identify an individual with these cameras, similar to the way that we're viewing each other now. This is how clear the pictures are. And as soon as they identify that face, they can run the analytics and it can show every camera that that individual had been viewed on at any given time during the day, week, or anything else happening. These cameras also come with a 10-year warranty, unlimited training for that 10-year period, 10-year licensing, which then allows property management as managers move from space to space, or a new manager starts, to be trained on this system so that they know how to use this system and use it to the advantage that will help them. Trying to think what else. The vehicle analytics works the same way. For instance, if it picked up a red pickup truck, you could say identify all red pickup trucks and it could follow it. One of the neat features about this camera system is that it's all tied together, meaning this is now the same company within this camera system. So you could go through the analytics and it could search the entire system for that vehicle, and you could see how it might travel through CMHA property, along with the facial recognition, along with the license plate readers as well. It allows the police department quick and easy access to see incident reports. So it makes it real easy for property management to identify the incident. They can send it to police, they can view it. They can also grant the police access to the system to control it if there is ever a live incident within a building. And it's typically no more than 4 clicks of a mouse to make everything happen with this system, whether it's the access control or the analytics with the camera system itself.
And how quickly will the relevant police, what's the expectation that they'll be able to respond to your real-time sharing?
Well, we've already shared this with the Homeland Security Office at Radcliffe, letting them know that we're going to install this system. They're familiar with it, but I can't answer how quickly they would respond if there's an incident, or whether or not they would want to take control or see what's happening. The capability is there. It's offered to them. It's very easy to give them that access, but I can't control how quickly they would.
So Mr. Miles, if I may,
Please.
the camera, so one of the things that we're trying to do is shift how we view security. And we've had some conversations about this broadly, internally and at the board level, is that the spending of $2.2 million a year on contract security and sheriff and police is just not sustainable.
Okay.
And as we're going through our transformation and upgrading buildings, we're looking at the latest technology that we can put in the buildings. So to kind of answer your question, the thing about the cameras are, as long as the cameras are working, they're used as a deterrent. And then the only way to actually make that deterrent effective is somebody actually gets caught doing something. Unfortunately, that's when people really realize, one, they work, and two, something's gonna happen to me if I get caught. Quite often, because of some of the visitors that frequent some of the high-rise buildings, and some, as we just spoke about, mental illness and things like that, things happen in our stairwells and in our hallways and in our elevators that we just have not had the ability to capture. And so this is one of those ways where we can capture it. So one, as property management, we can use it as when we're talking to tenants of, your visitor did this, and so we can have that conversation and deal with them accordingly. And then if unfortunately something happens, we have the ability to share that information with the police department, so then they can do their further investigation as well. We're as we're conversating, all of these things is reducing our everyday operational budget as far as security, but it's also providing more coverage with eyes and ears out there looking 24 hours a day. And as residents are communicating with us of time of day or what happened, we're able to go back and capture it and then share that information and or follow the processes of eviction or cure letters that we do internally.
Well, that must be one of the most effective ways, and I'm thinking tangentially of Cinnamon's question on an earlier resolution, that if our tenants know, just like in any private building outside of a subsidized situation, I think it's quite common that there are cameras everywhere, and for good reason. It gives people peace of mind, and it may be an opportunity so that it's not a he said, she said situation for our tenants or others to feel comfortable coming forward confidentially or otherwise and helping address an issue beyond what capability we've had before. So, I get why we're going for this new system.
Joe, can you tell me the LPRs, do they hook up directly to the Cincinnati police, or are they hooking up to turnkey technology and then going from there to the police?
So these camera systems record individually, but system-wide. So the license plate reader, the camera has to be set up that way, and all the data is stored in the cloud and then shared when needed.
It doesn't hook, Tom, it does not hook to the police system.
No.
So
at all. So the only monitoring is CMHA.
So while the previous LPRs we had, didn't we have direct access to the Cincinnati police where they could take action immediately if a license plate was identified?
Yes, so those camera systems are installed at, I think, 2 or 3 of our properties, Finlater, Winton, Millvale. And those license plate readers are in direct control of the Homeland Security Office. But yes, they monitor those cameras. When there's an incident, they look up the license plate readers and other things that go along with those particular cameras.
Okay. Joe, great explanation. And I think it's a great investment over the long haul. I think we definitely save money in the area of security. So I think it's a great move.
I have a question. So all of our properties now are outfitted, not necessarily with these security cameras, but security cameras as well as the ones that the shots fired?
Not all of our properties not all of our properties have the shot fire mechanism. That was a program that the city had funding for, and then they chose particular places throughout the community to put. But not all of our properties have security cameras or a camera system like this. At Winton and Finlater, Millville, it's a older system that is tied to Homeland Security, but it's a partnership. But I will tell you that it's like pulling teeth sometimes to get them to view and respond back. As Tom is saying, they have the access, they have those, but letting CMHA know they use them for their purposes of their investigations. So similar to as Joe was explaining about the license plate reader, when they run that through or they hear it, then they can see where this person's been going, but they may be investigating a person for 2 or 3 years while they're doing whatever. But we don't have readily access to them. If there's an incident on our site, we do request, information. We do have access to some of the cameras, but the partnership could work a lot better. But they're short-staffed at this point as well, and they use it as storing data, and then they actually go back and look at it after an incident happens, so they can try to see, what happened and who did it and things like that as well.
I thank you.
Hey, good questions.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
I'm so glad you asked about the what that all involved, Tom, because that was very informational and good to learn. I'm excited about the alternative and creative ways we're thinking about security. And I was listening for how resident data was being protected and privacy, because it kind of feels like a little bit of a slippery slope with the facial recognition and the license plate readers. I just want us to kind of keep an eye on that, because what I've also heard about facial recognition is that it's been shown to have both racial and gender bias in misidentifying folks. And so just want to kind of keep that in mind, as a lot of our residents tend to be folks that are minorities and women. So just to watch out about, the technology that we're embracing, that it has been, criticized for those failings.
That's a great point. And one of the points that we talked about internally was, where does this go? So I had a lot of conversation with Joe about the facial recognition, and the great part about that is it's not going outside of our realm unless somebody actually did something, if that makes sense. So other than that, if a facial recognition or something like that happened, we wouldn't be sharing that with anybody unless there was a request because of an incident happened. And the other thing I wanted to say on another point, we spend a lot of money with contractors cleaning our buildings, but after we clean our buildings, somebody comes by and puts trash in the hallways and things like that. This will help us identify who's doing these things and then deter them. And then on the backside, it should reduce our overall cost of what we're spending to clean the buildings as well. So it's a lot of benefit I think we're getting for a one-time upfront cost. So I hope that answered your concern, Ms. Pelly, about that, because I had the same overall concern as well when we were talking about this, but I felt better about it when it's more of CMHA controlling that information and that data sharing.
Yep, thank you for that.
The volume is so low, I can't hear Ms. Pelly's response.
I think it's my Zoom app. So sorry about that. I will try to speak even louder. I said thank you for that explanation.
Maybe it's just I don't hear so well. Maybe that's the explanation. But that was satisfactory in terms of a response from the secretary?
Yes, I still want to know to watch out in those areas, but that informational and additional context was helpful. Thank you.
Very good. Any other questions? Hearing none, roll call. Ms. Mitchell.
Aye.
Mr. Weedman.
Aye.
Ms. Pelly.
Aye.
The chair votes aye. The resolution passes. Now, resolution 5709, authorizing the CEO of CMHA to enter into a contract for a solicitation 2022-3010 with Garland DBS Incorporated for the roofing system replacement at San Marco for the amount of $234,712.
Motion.
Capital funds. Thank you. A second?
Second.
Thank you. Are there any questions on this resolution? Hearing none, roll call. Ms. Mitchell.
Aye.
Mr. Weedman.
Aye.
Ms. Pelly.
Aye.
And the chair votes aye, and forgive the emergency response siren in the background there, speaking of security. Item 5E is adopt the resolution in the general category. Resolution 5710, authorizing the CEO of the Cincinnati Metropolitan Housing Authority to negotiate and enter into contracts for solicitation 2022-1007, work order services with Trustus Transportation LLC, DBA Trustus Maintenance and Janitorial, Diamond Professional Contractors LLC, Colossal Janitorial LLC, Avista Contractors LLC, Koger Enterprise LLC, The Stone Street Group LLC, Finesse Services LLC, GJT Construction Incorporated, GLT Renovations LLC, Wade Enterprises Real Estate and Property Management LLC, DCJ Janitorial LLC, Ultimate Professionals LLC, Howard Edwards Contractors LLC, Terrence Shipman DBA Upgrade Renovation, Restoration, and Repair Company, Chase Construction and Development Group LLC, DBA Chase Construction and Inspection Group LLC, Bruce Gray DBA From the Ground Up Renovations, KNVY Renovations LLC, G2 Residential Services LLC, A Touch of Perfection Painting and Home Services LLC, Prestige Home Improvement and Roofing LLC, and Terry Jarvis DBA J Companies in a not to exceed amount of $200,000 annually per contractor for the board approved budget for a maximum 3-year contract funded by operational funds.
Motion.
Thank you. A second?
Second.
Thank
Second.
you. Thank you. Any questions? Hearing none. Roll call, Ms. Mitchell.
Aye.
Mr. Weedman.
Aye.
Ms. Pelly.
Aye.
And the chair votes aye. The resolution passes. Resolution 5711, authorizing the CEO of CMHA to negotiate and enter into contracts for solicitation 2022-1017, Maintenance, Repair, and Operating Supplies with Best Plumbing Specialties Incorporated, Cincinnati Color Company Incorporated, Blue Rose Supply LLC, IDN Global, Incorporated, and Winstone Controls Incorporated, in a not to exceed amount of $100,000 annually per contractor or for the board approved budget for a maximum 5-year contract funded by operational funds. Is there a motion to accept?
Motion.
Second.
Thank you. Any questions? Hearing none, roll call. Ms. Mitchell,
Aye.
Mr. Weedman,
Aye.
Ms. Pelly. That's an aye. Okay, got it. Thank you. And the chair votes aye. The resolution passes. Resolution 5712, authorizing the CEO of CMHA to negotiate and enter into contracts for solicitation 2022-4006, consultants for analysis for year 15 exit from LIHTC with Baker Tilly US LLP, Ithaca Advisory LLC, and Tidwell Group LLC in a not to exceed amount of $100,000 annually per contractor or the board approved budget for a maximum 5-year contract funded by instrumentality operating funds.
Motion.
Thank you. A second?
Second.
Great. And are there any questions on this resolution? Hearing none, roll call. Ms. Mitchell,
Aye.
Mr. Weedman,
Aye.
Ms. Pelly. Am I- Very good.
She said
And the chair votes aye, the resolution passes. Resolution 5713, authorizing the CEO of Cincinnati Metropolitan Housing Authority to procure identity protection services for the CMHA CEO and COO, funded by management services funds.
Motion.
Thank you.
Second.
Second, great. Are there any questions or discussion from the board?
Have we had any issues with this, Greg?
We had a scare when we had that data penetration. I think if you remember a few months ago, it happened last year in the winter. So with all of the new instrumentalities that we have to start, I have to use my personal social security number. They will not allow any longer to use the agency EIN number, and the CEO, Rima, has to use her personal social security number. So we are putting our social security number on documents that for bank loans and things like that. And they won't take anything else because they said, people are doing things and they're saying they want to make sure that it's real, people. So I've had to use my social security number a lot, because we got all the instrumentalities and Rima has. So
why won't they take an EIN number, Greg?
Because they're saying that they need to know that it's a real person that's responsible for creating the entity.
Not a robot.
In a sense, yes.
Who is the who?
The state.
The state of Ohio?
The state is one, and then the lending institution. So we're doing all, just for example, for Bennett Point that we're trying to close. I mean, I had to give my personal social security number for the bank, bonding agents. They're all asking for it now. So I don't like it, and I put up a lot of, but I have to do it, or they won't give us the funding.
Wow.
Hey, Greg, we need to talk to the legislators about this.
Yeah.
There's absolutely no reason why you should be using your social security number for anything.
Yeah. I mean, that's.
Yeah, I agree.
That's not for identification purposes in the original act. And Tom's exactly right. Laverne and Tom are exactly right. That's a burden too far to ask for CEO or COO. You know,
Greg,
what,
can you put some examples together that we can go see if we can't get this changed?
Yeah, I can. Tobias? I'll have Tobias put together just some examples of organizations and when we have to provide our social security numbers, and then the language that they have on why. So the state, when creating an entity, has why, and then bonding, financial lending institutions for the construction periods and things like that. Because it really came up because they had one number, and I used my personal home address. So they had one number wrong in my home address, and we had to redo the whole thing over again. And this was just last week or week before last, right, Rima? Where I had to redo it all over again, and it's under the Patriot Act. So this is the reason that we're asking for it, because we're the only two people in the whole agency that are using our personal information.
Okay. Yeah, we need to get that fixed. But in the meantime, we certainly should have protection for you as well.
no. Will the limit of protection be adequate for the contracts you're making? Will it be more than $1 million, which, the typical TV ad expresses?
I think what we have to do is there's a couple of organizations that do this. So we're going to look at the best ones for the best protection. But at the end of the day, you all know what they're going to be good for is telling us something happened to us.
Right.
It'll be after the fact, but
Yeah.
at least, you know what I mean? But the problem would already have happened. So
Yeah.
But
Well,
yeah, we're gonna get what the best that we can get. I'm usually making sure that I'm gonna go, the economic way, but we're gonna get the best that we can get, the best one that's out there.
Okay. And if I can assist you in any way, Tom, at approaching Columbus, happy to do it.
Okay, great.
Any other thoughts or questions from other board members on this?
Nope, just needs to be fixed.
Yeah. Okay, roll call. Ms. Mitchell.
Aye.
Mr. Weedman.
Aye.
Ms. Pelly.
Aye.
And the chair votes aye, the resolution passes. Resolution 5714, authorizing the CEO of CMHA to apply for Public Housing Capital Fund at-risk receivership substandard trouble program grant with the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development. Is there a motion to accept? Thank you. A second?
Second.
Thanks. Any questions or discussions on this resolution? Hearing none, roll call. Ms. Mitchell.
Aye.
Mr. Weedman.
Aye.
Ms. Pelly.
Aye.
And the chair votes aye, the resolution passes. Now, resolution 5715, authorizing the CEO of CMHA to enter into a memorandum of agreement with the United Way of Greater Cincinnati to cooperate on eviction prevention services.
Motion.
Thank you. Second?
Second.
Thank you. Any questions? Hearing none, roll call. Ms. Mitchell.
Aye.
Mr. Weedman.
Aye.
Ms. Pelly.
He said aye.
Okay, thanks. And the chair votes aye, the resolution passes. During May 2022, fiscal year 2022, CMHA entered into 5 non-construction contracts with not to exceed maximum amounts below $100,000 and 2 joinder contracts. There were no construction contracts below $100,000 in April. Per resolution 5587, approved August 31st, 2021, the CEO has authorization to execute and sign contracts in an amount not to exceed $100,000. Are there any questions or discussion from the board members on that or anything previous? Please.
Mr. Chair, I got one correction item. It's
Good.
for May. I think the notes may have said April, but it's for May, that nothing was signed in May. If I may introduce just that correction to that last note.
Okay, great.
And then I would like to introduce a emergency resolution. The resolution number would be 5709A as in Apple. And the resolution would authorize the Chief Executive Officer of Cincinnati Metropolitan Housing Authority to enter into a contract for emergency roof replacement with Garland DBS Incorporated for the roofing system replacement at Marquette Manor for the amount of $721,119,000 funded by capital funds. And I apologize that this came late, but we have had issues at Marquette Manor with leaks in units. We finally got the assessment done, and Joe has brought to our attention that the roof needs to be replaced in an emergency way. So I usually never bring things like this, but we can't wait another month before we get started on that roof at
or 2 months.
Yeah. So we were going to use, we're going to use the emergency process that we put in place. But since we were having the meeting today, I thought it would be okay to have it come before you before it got replaced.
I'll make a motion to approve resolution 5709A.
Thank you. Thank you. Are there any questions or discussion from the board? Hearing none, roll call. Ms. Mitchell?
Aye.
Mr. Weedman?
Aye.
Ms. Pelley?
She said aye.
Okay, thank you. And the chair,
Mr. Chair, I just want to make one correction.
Okay.
I have the amount wrong. It's $712,119.
Okay. Do we need to revote it, or can we stipulate that that's the number?
It's correct.
Tom
on
needs
page
a,
6.
Tom would just make a amended motion.
I'll make a motion to amend my previous motion regarding 5709A to reflect the $712,119,000 in cost.
Can you hear me? Can you all hear me?
Yes, now.
Okay, the amount for that resolution is correct on page 6, where it's listed. It has the 712,119 listed correctly.
Correct.
Just
I think
saying.
we just have to change. We just have to amend the motion because we had a wrong
Right.
number. So I made a motion. And we just need a second.
Yeah.
Second.
Thank you. Any questions on the amended motion? Hearing none, roll call on the amended motion, 5709A. Ms. Mitchell?
Aye.
Mr. Weedman?
Aye.
Ms. Pelley?
Aye.
And the chair votes aye, the resolution passes. So the board will now go into executive session to review personnel. Is there a motion to accept?
Motion.
Thank you. A second?
Second.
Thank you. And roll call for going into executive session. Ms. Mitchell?
Aye.
Mr. Weedman?
Aye.
Ms. Pelley?
Aye.
And the chair votes aye, the motion passes. Mr. Secretary, is there a reason why anyone other than you and Gary need to stay on at this point?
No, I've already updated everybody that they could jump off and let Gary know that he has to hang out with me. And he was so thrilled about it the other day. I tell you, he was so happy. He was so happy just to hang out with me. He couldn't stay.
Well, so as we go into executive session, you and Gary will drop off the Zoom call. And then would you like me to call you when we're ready to come back in?
I think, and Crystal, can you chime in? I think Crystal is going to send you a link so you guys can go away from us, and then you guys will come back to us. So
Okay.
Gary and I will just hang out here, but you guys will hit. You should be seeing a button now where it says you can hit it, and you'll go into your session.
And we haven't received it yet.
Crystal, is that coming, or am I incorrect about that?
No, it's coming. We just do it, we
Okay.
have to do them individually. So hold on one second.
Okay, great.
Well, Laverne, are you as grateful as I that Tom and Cinnamon are IT
Yes,
capable to get
yes.
us in and out of these moments? Here's the click. Okay, I'm going to click join, and I invite the rest of the board members to do that, and we'll be back in touch after our session. Greg?
All right, thank you.
Okay.
So
Joining
everybody else can jump off. So thank you guys for joining in.
Am I supposed to have something that says join? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, everyone is there. Are you all right for me to add the screen for our viewers?
Yes. Yes. Crystal, I don't have much time to put my feet on the desk, do I? From these meetings, you can hear the whole kit and caboodle.
Okay, everyone on the call, I do want you to know that we are still live on YouTube, so please mute yourselves.
Okay, Greg and Gary, you're with us now?
Yes.
Okay, great. And public meeting will resume shortly. I need to get back to the agenda. Gary, can you coach me through this?
Crystal, I assume we're back on. Is that correct?
I believe that's
Yeah,
true.
it's
We
it's,
are
it's
live.
live streaming, so you just have to come out of the executive session. Just
Okay.
Make the
motion.
motion.
Yep.
Oh,
I move
okay,
that
well,
we come out of executive session.
I'll second.
all right. And any discussion from the board? Hearing none. Roll call. Ms. Mitchell,
Aye.
Mr. Weedman,
Aye.
Ms. Pelly.
She said aye.
Okay,
He said
thanks.
Aye.
And the chair votes aye. We're back in session. May
Okay.
I have a motion?
I'd like to make a motion to approve a contract for the CEO of CMHA for the 2022 fiscal year.
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion? Hearing none. Roll call for approval of that resolution. Gary, do we need a number for that? Resolution.
He'll assign one to it. It'll just go at the end. He'll assign one to it, Mr. Miles.
Okay, and we're approving that with that understanding. Roll call for the resolution. Ms. Mitchell,
Aye.
Mr. Weedman,
Aye.
Ms. Pelly. Let me know when she,
Yes, she did.
She said
okay,
aye.
Said
sorry.
aye.
And the chair votes aye, the resolution passes. And if there's no other business to come before the board, may I have a resolution to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
A motion to reserve.
Second.
Thank you. Roll call. Ms. Mitchell,
Aye.
Mr. Weedman,
Aye.
Ms. Pelly. Got it. It's easier when I'm watching you. And the chair votes aye. The resolution passes. And thank you again so much for your attention and efforts. I'll take the liberty of saying that staff is working through very difficult conditions without a lot of complaining. And making something very difficult look probably easier than it is, a lot easier. So, any comments for the good of the order?
No, other than great job, Greg. You're doing a great job, and we appreciate your leadership. So,
Well
You
said.
know.
Thank you.
Well said. Okay, Cinnamon, may I ask a great favor? If you have time, would you give me a call after the meeting? I want you to be aware of something that I wasn't able to share with you before the meeting. And do you have my mobile?
I do.
Let's see, are we live?
Yes, we are.
Why don't you have Gary send it to her?
Yeah,
Have
no,
Gary
she
send her your number.
She has it. She has it. She has it. We shared it with her.
Gary
Yeah,
already
she has
sent
it.
it.
Okay.
Okay, well, thank you. No meeting next month. We'll see your smiling faces in August when we'll be probably back in the board meeting on the CMHA campus.
everybody have a good summer.
Bye.
See ya.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Thanks.